Hello, good evening. Welcome to Business Live. Tonight, inflation to peak in March 2023. We'll hear from an economist as December 2022 rate shoots up by 3.8% to end the year at 54.1%, according to data from the Ghana Statistical Service.
Is that if we could not achieve an IMF program as soon as possible, the agitations could re-emerge soon, and that might mean more currency pressures, and record the consequences thereafter, really. So it's looking good. We could peak in March, thereabout.
More opposition to government's debt exchange program as pensioners bondholders ask government to exclude their funds from the program.
If we don't meet the minister, we have decided as a forum, as a group, that we are not going to accept the invitation. So members are not going to accept the invitation because we are saying we should be exempted.
World Bank commits 160 million cedis for SMEs development program. We'll hear from the Ghana Enterprises Agency.
Partnership and grant support of 160 million Ghana cedis has been earmarked for the flagship SME High Growth Program, targeting SMEs nationwide.
This is Business Life with me, Pious Kojo Backah. Details after this break. Pleasure you could stay with us. Straight to our very first story. Tonight, the increasing rate of inflation is expected to peak in March this year. This is the assertion of economist and research lead with GCB Capital, Courage Buti. Inflation shot up by 3.8% to end 2022 at 54.1%, according to data from the Ghana Statistical Service. Now, despite a strong improvement in the value of the cedi and a reduction in the prices of petroleum products, the rate of inflation still went up in December 2022. This was due to steep increases in food, transport, and housing costs. However, the rate of increase slowed down. We'll hear first from an economist, Courage Buti, but here is government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobneni.
Was food and non-alcoholic beverages 59.71%. All these five divisions recorded inflation rates higher than the national average of 54.1% for the month of December 2022. On a month-on-month basis, keeping in mind the national average of 3.8%, we equally identified five divisions that on a month-on-month basis recorded inflation rates higher than the national average. But this was led by transport with 6.65%, followed by finishing household equipment 5.04%, all recording inflation rates higher than the national average of 3.8%. While we identified housing, water, electricity, and gas recording the overall higher inflation of 82.34%, its contribution to overall inflation was 15.7%. Keeping in mind the contribution of food and non-alcoholic beverages having a weight of about 43.7%, its contribution to overall inflation was 47.5% for the month of December 2022. So although housing finishing recorded rates higher than food and non-alcoholic beverages, because of its weight, it had a higher contribution to overall inflation of 47.5%. The division that contributed the least to overall inflation was insurance and financial services, that contributed 0.1% to the December 2022 inflation rate.
Meanwhile, economist and research lead with GCB Capital, Courage Buti, is projecting that the general increase in prices of goods and services will reach the highest in March, after which the country will begin to witness some declines. According to him, this is likely if the country achieves an IMF bailout as soon as possible. He spoke on the marketplace.
Yes, slow down, but it doesn't by any means show we are out of the inflationary pressure yet. I think for the December data window, it still very much captured the depreciation pressures we saw, because we are talking a period, second week in November to first week in December. That was very much a period of volatility in terms of exchange rate. I think there was to some extent also crude oil price pressures, and then which translated into higher export prices and all of that, affecting transport fares and general goods and services on the market. So the marginal slowdown in the rate of growth actually for this period is actually welcome, and with the sharp appreciation we saw in December and the relative stability of the cedi beginning this year now, we should see much more slower growth in inflation, at least for the January and February print, and we could be on course for a peak in March. But the situation is quite fluid. We saw from March, April, May last year, the fact that inflation, the slope was low, easing, but then thereafter the depreciation process. And then in this point in time where government's ability to push through this debt exchange program, which is a precondition for securing the board approval, seems to be hanging in the balance. It appears that if we could not achieve an IMF program as soon as possible, the agitations could re-emerge soon, and that might mean more currency pressures, and record the consequences thereafter, really. So it's looking good. We could peak in March, thereabout, but then it is a fluid situation and will be driven by the market conditions at the time.
Well, we've been engaging some of you on this latest inflation rate. Here are your thoughts.
Inflation is too high compared to the past administrations that we've experienced. It's too high because checking from the newest bills that basic school students are supposed to pay and stuff, the stationaries that they'll be needing, it's too much because at first something that will be amounting to somehow around 400 cedis. It's now around 888 cedis. So I think this year it's too much. And we, the fresh students in the university too, we are facing a lot of crisis. There is increase in our hostel fees and stuff. We will tell the government to do something about this.
Inflation rate, I think it will all depend on the government. So we are all looking up to the government to do something about it, and we hope he's going to bring on board things that will help Ghanaians.
Due to the dollar and the cedis issue, things have been becoming difficult for Ghanaian people, and for the fees too, I think it's too much. So in this January, I expect that the government should make it down for us because the payments that our parents receive are not all that much.
Moving on to some other stories, a group called Pensioners Bondholders Forum of Ghana says it will take action against the government if not exempted from the domestic debt exchange program. According to convener of the group, Dr. Edu Enchi, an inclusion of the group to the program will worsen their fragile economic conditions. They spoke to Joy Business at a press conference to address issues confronting members.
We have a discussion with the minister. What the response to our petition will determine the way forward.
Well, so discussion with the minister and all that, but one may say we have just a few days to the registration deadline. That is on the 16th of this month. And at this point, if you are not giving any ultimatum, wouldn't that affect you guys? Because speaking to your members, they seem not to be happy with the fact that you guys are just basically doing lobbying or negotiation. They want more action. What do you make of that?
Well, that is the action we have taken. If we don't meet the minister, we have decided as a forum, as a group, that we are not going to accept the invitation. So members are not going to accept the invitation because we are saying we should be exempted. And I believe the minister should give us the audience because you owe us. And if you say you won't listen to people you owe, then I can't find what a debtor would want to do. You owe somebody. You have to pay that somebody. It is your obligation to pay. And the person you owe say, you even didn't ask the person that didn't come to the person to speak with, and he has come to you. I think the only good, I just cannot imagine the minister refusing to, the debtor refusing to meet its creditors. I can't imagine that.
We all are aware of the fact that pensions are nothing to talk about because pensions are functions of what you earn whilst you are working, and you know the level of salaries in this country. And therefore, if you are somebody who's working and you know that there's life after retirement, you take plans and take decisions that will cushion you for the future. And so we did a lot of savings, and we were encouraged by government and by the banks to invest in bonds because that one even gives government the leeway, 3, 4, 5 years. And we live on our bonds because if you have a certificate, you can even use it as a collateral for any loan from a bank in times of distress. So if the arrangement that they are throwing at us today is that we should bring our old instruments and pick new ones, that has a maturity date of 2038. While as against my maturity date, which may be 2026. And that for this whole year, you're paying nothing on my investment. How do you want me to survive? We should be mindful of the fact that even though we are retirees, we're still taking care of our kids. They've left school.
Now, the Ghana Enterprises Agency and the World Bank have begun application processes for a small and medium enterprises growth program for the youth and especially women with 160 million cedis support. Speaking at the launch of the initiative in Accra, Chief Executive of the Ghana Enterprises Agency, Kosi Aye, hinted that the program will support the growth of the sector and prepare small businesses for other investment opportunities. Here is more.
The Small and Medium Enterprises SME High Growth Program is under the Ghana Economic Transformation Project aimed at helping micro businesses across the country to upscale. This new addition is looking at providing technical assistance in partnership with accounting and auditing firm KPMG and other development partners. Chief Executive of the Ghana Enterprises Agency, Kosi Aye, says this will help the sector contribute significantly to economic growth.
This makes the program design very relevant to the vision of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for SMEs through the Ghana Enterprises Agency, to optimize their potential to enable them contribute meaningfully to the growth and development of the national economy and to poverty reduction. I'm happy that together with our development partners, the World Bank, through the Ghana Economic Transformation Project, PIU, we can deliver the support to SMEs. Ladies and gentlemen, through this partnership, a grant support of 160 million Ghana cedis has been earmarked for the flagship SME High Growth Program, targeting SMEs nationwide.
Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry in charge of SMEs, Nana Amadokua Esiama Ejay, described the move as timely since many micro businesses are still feeling the impact of the harsh economic conditions.
Even till date, the adverse effects of the COVID-19 on countries, individuals, and businesses, particularly the MSME, still lingers on. In our quest to address the many challenges faced by SMEs as a result of the pandemic, explains the reasons why Phase 2 of the grant program has been introduced in response of supporting productivity and enhancing the competitiveness of high-growth SMEs, with special focus on export-oriented companies and viable firms owned by vulnerable groups such as women-owned enterprises, persons with disability, and the youth.
This will be the third major intervention from the Ghana Enterprises Agency to SMEs since the COVID-19 pandemic struck.
And more on the economy, an associate professor at the Department of Finance at the University of Ghana, Professor Vera Fiado, is urging business owners to consider a performance-based compensation approach rather than employing retrenchment strategies as a way of cutting down costs in these austere movements. Speaking at the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry Forum dubbed Start Right Series, executed the 2023 plan for a productive year, Professor Vera Fiado called on businesses to diversify their operations to other markets in order to improve their income while minimizing risks.
In view of the volatility that has characterized the market, some of the strategies, especially in terms of managing their costs, would have to do around retrenchment. But like I said in the presentation, the retrenchment has to be balanced vis-a-vis the implications for morale, etc. So most businesses, I think, should work towards performance-based compensation as opposed to be the open, all-out retrenchment strategies that we employ. So to a large extent, yes, we may also need to improve on revenue, and because of the decline in the economy, an avenue may be for us to begin to look at the possibility of diversifying outside our typical, business zones, so that we could leverage on the benefits in terms of improved income, but at the same time minimizing the risk. Other strategies could include hedging. So like I said, you could get into forward contracts sometimes with your banks for those who, especially in the importing sector, who may require a lot of forex to be able to, put some certainty in terms of their forex exchange management, etc. I think that should work for most businesses.
Ghana still remains a preferred destination for investments despite the current economic challenges. That's according to Head of Operations at Noob Homes Ghana, Moshen Waris, a home decor retail chain. He says his outfit will capitalize on various opportunities in the Ghanaian market. He spoke to Joy Business at the opening of its outlet at Jowulu here in Accra.
Today we are celebrating the grand opening of our brand. It's called the Noob Homes. It's a UAE, Middle East-based brand. It's one of the leading furniture and home improvement brands in Middle East, and now they're opening up in a lot of places in Africa. We are happy and honored to open this segment in Ghana. The Noob Home, basically, we do home furnishing, home improvement. We start from hardware, sanitary, furniture, home decor, artwork, everything we do. It's a one-stop shop, and it's it's one of the leading brands, and we're very proud to bring it here in Ghana. I think Africa has a lot of potential. It's a growing economy. Given the issues last 2-3 years, it's everywhere. But apart from that, I think the opportunity is a lot in this country, especially in Ghana. We see there are areas where there are places for improvement, more competition. I think competition is better. It gives the public more options. When there are more options, the quality and style of everything improves automatically. So that's what we're here to do. We're here with different style, different ideas, different products than what is there in the general market. I think it's a growing market. I see a lot of development happening. So if there is development, there are housing, offices, building, it's natural you're going to need, what we are bringing to the market over here.
Thank you for being part of Business Live for tonight. I am Pious Kojo Backah. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Ciao,